Hello, friends, and happy Friday. Welcome to In the Loop. It is so wonderful to be here with all of you live and on a Friday. And Greg, I don't know, how's your week been going?
It's been going really well. You know, we had some really nice weather here in Oregon for the first part of the week. So got outside, I got some sun, which is rare. And yeah, other than that, you know, just busy, but really, really good. It's good to be here though with everybody.
It's so good to be here and happy Friday and welcome everybody to the show. It's awesome to be here with you. As Greg said, for those of you who are brand new, hello, I'm Winnie, longtime financial pro, CNBC council member, Forbes contributor, and of course, host of also of Level Up, which can be found on NASDAQ and other streaming platforms. And of course, this show would not be complete without the amazing Greg Nibbler. Greg, you want to give a quick shout out and bio to us?
Yes. Hello, everyone. So I am Greg Nibbler. If it's your first time tuning in, thank you for joining us. I'm a longtime tech reporter, but also covering a lot of other things as well. Worked for the NBA for a little while. Now I work for Fox 12 Oregon as well. So I'm the host of Fox 12 Now up here, covering all kinds of topics. But on this show, I love covering tech. And so today I'm going to be talking a little bit about some things that are happening now. Actually, one thing that probably everybody may have noticed, but may not have looked into too much. iPhone users, I'm talking about you. And then on top of that, we're going to be talking about AI, which AI is everywhere, but these are some positive, I think, use cases of AI. So we're going to have that coming up in a little bit. But yeah, thank you everybody for joining us. You know, appreciate being here every week with all of you. And one thing that we do like to do too is this is interactive. So we're live, as you can see right there that just popped down. We got CrossX Spider. Hey, Winnie and Greg, happy Friday. So feel free to drop in your comments as we go throughout the show. You know, let us know what you think. If you have specific things you want to hear about, feel free to do that. And that's part of the fun of what we get to do here every Friday. And of course, be here with Winnie.
Oh, I love it. Well, yes, to answer your question, CrossX Spider, we are doing great. And I'm so happy that Greg is back and we are doing this show here on Friday. Let's kick it off and tell you how the market's doing. All right. So currently the market hasn't closed yet. We've got a little bit ways to go, but currently the Dow is down 186. The NASDAQ is up 38 though. And the S&P 500 is also down currently too. We do have over 2 hours left in the financial market. So maybe things will get better. But in the meantime, let's have some fun and tell you some of the sort of newsworthy topics that we have collected this week that we want to share with you. And one of the first topics I want to talk about is, I know CrossX Fighter is joining us on YouTube Live right now. And I know many of you here are also joining us on YouTube Live. I want to talk about YouTube because YouTube is now introducing brand new AI capabilities. And this is one I think I want to get your take of whether you like the idea, you hate the idea, you're kind of in the middle and you're like, I want to wait and see. Because AI content is now going to have sort of a disclosure on it. And I think it depends on, what the video is. But basically, this was reported on The Verge by Mia Sato and talking about how YouTube has rolled out a new feature that enables creators, maybe like yourself, to self-label videos. Self-label, that's the key. Containing AI generated, or I like this new term, Greg. Have you heard? I'm sure you know because I'm a financial nerd, so I haven't really heard it, but synthetic material. So now if your video includes synthetic material, aka AI generated content, you as a creator have the ability to make this label on your YouTube video to let people know that this has potentially fake information. Now, there are going to be exceptions to this rule, right? So certain types of content, especially such as, beauty filters, background blur effects, animations that clearly are meant to be aren't meant to be realistic. You don't have to worry about that. But it's the other stuff where, where and when. Those of you who create content, I'm hoping that you know. But Greg, what do you think about this? Like it, hate it?
I mean, I think the honor system part of it is just never going to really entirely work. I appreciate the fact that they're encouraging people to label things as AI generated, because this is a big issue that's going to be happening here over the next months and really forever now, with people using AI generated content and then not saying that it's AI generated, or um, trying to be kind of manipulative on stuff. So looking at it right here too, I'm taking a look at the screen and what they're saying. So using the likeness of a realistic person, digitally altering someone, it's meant to strengthen transparency. Content that require disclosure. Okay, so that would be something that's required, where you have to say that. Altering footage, generating realistic scenes. So I think that's good. I think that's good to have that labeled. How that's going to be enforced, that's going to be interesting to see how they go about that, because basically you're probably going to have to use AI to enforce AI rules in some aspect. And
Yeah.
how that all works out, this is where this stuff needs to happen, honestly, with a company the size of YouTube and Google. I think that's where they can figure out the best way. I don't know if this is going to be the best way, and they probably don't either, but you got to start somewhere.
You gotta share somewhere. I actually agree with you, Greg. I don't think this is practical long term and at the scale that you need. And like, can you imagine like going on YouTube or whatever platform you seeing all these disclaimers? It can get kind of annoying pretty quickly too. They think there needs to be a better solution. I do think this is like a temporary band-aid, but
Yeah.
I'm curious to see how you all feel. So if for those of you who are watching this live, feel free to jump in and put your comments in. If you're watching our replay, you can do the same as well. But I'm going to segue over to my next story. Today, I think you're gonna like my stories. This is a fun one. This is coming out of some shoppers here in California. I'm calling it the Birkin Battle. For those of you who are not familiar with this, you probably don't follow Kim Kardashian, and that's okay because I actually don't either. But I just saw a story about how she was recently at an NBA game and she put her expensive $50,000 Birkin right on the ground in front of her seat. But here in California, there were some shoppers, in fact, recently that have now sued the renowned Birkin bag company by Hermes. Now, this was reported by the New York Times by Jacob Bernstein. The Hermes, obviously a symbol of luxury, but the Birkin bag, very much so the symbol of luxury. So they're talking, and I didn't know this because I don't own one, but maybe those of you who do own one, you might know. But those of you who don't own one, this might be really interesting for you to learn as well, because Vogue, I guess, highlighted that it's actually really overwhelming to be able to get one of these bags. I didn't know this. I guess it's so exclusive that buyers have to wait months, sometimes even years, just waiting for the right style to come out. And even if it comes out, there's also waiting lists, and there's sort of elimination of waiting lists as well at these different Hermes stores. Now, I will say that I have a Hermes store like not too far away. I will be honest, I've never actually gone in the Hermes store, but these two people, one by the name of Tina, one by the name of Mark, I guess they were so frustrated by the unsuccessful attempts to purchase these Birkin bags that they actually initiated a class action lawsuit against Hermes in San Francisco. And they're saying that the company reserves these bags only for their highest spending customers, almost like bait. And they're claiming that these practices violate antitrust laws. In fact, one of these individuals is already an owner of one of these Birkin bags, but she says that she was coerced into buying additional Hermes other products, before even being offered a chance to purchase one of these bags or another one of these bags. And they said, this is the thing. They said some people have to spend over $60,000 just to have the access to purchase one of these bags, which, by the way, I did a little research. It seems like these bags start at a minimum of $10,000 each and go into tens of thousands, hundred, I don't know, but it can go very, very high. The Birkin bag, which was introduced originally in 1984, was named after Jane Birkin. And I guess it requires like 18 to 20 hours by a single craftsman just to create one of them. And so they're really sort of safeguarding how to make them and even how many they make. And they really almost use this as they're saying the lawsuit is calling this thing called, they're calling it tying. And this term tying, I guess, is an illegal practice where the sale of one product is contingent on the purchase of another product. And so legal experts are saying that this may or may not, fly because, especially for luxury goods, which aren't really considered necessities. I don't know, Greg. What do you think about this?
I mean, I admit I am very unknowledgeable in the world of Birkin bags until like right now. This is when I really just learned about Birkin bags. That I mean, it just seems kind of ridiculous as far as how expensive these things are. Um,
First world
you know,
problems.
I do get, as far as the encouraging people to pay something and then pay something else. I'm seeing here, I'm looking at this comment too, that employees receive no commission. That sucks. Um, yeah, I honestly don't know. I don't think I know enough about this to give too many opinions on it, other than the fact that it seems kind of crazy to pay that much for a bag. And I do totally get though that I can understand some of the merits of the lawsuit for sure.
I guess that's the thing. I guess that's in the celebrity world.
The
That's what
celebrity
drives
world
the
of bags. I
market.
mean, I just saw the price on one of those $450,000 for a bag. I mean, clearly, not something that I would be in the market for. But even if you're, even if you do have that much money, that still seems kind of ridiculous to me.
Yes, if you have that much money, consider investing it, putting it towards your
Investing it
future.
or
That's
buy a
the,
house.
my suggestion of the day. Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, my last story, Greg, it's just a fun one. It's really short. I mean, it's very quick. I think it's fun. I'm sure the person involved doesn't think it's fun, but I want to share this with you just because it hit financial news. And I'm like, sometimes we got to end Friday on a fun day. This came from the New York Times. Jesus Jimenez shared this week. There's a man in Texas. Get this. All right. He actually tried to board, actually, he boarded a Delta flight with another passenger's ticket. So there was a person in Texas, 26 years old. His name is like Cliffe. He was arrested at a Delta Airlines flight from Salt Lake City to Austin, Texas, because he didn't have a ticket. But what he did do is he used a photo of another passenger's boarding pass. But get this, not only was he able to get through TSA, he was able to get all the way onto the plane. And the only reason why they actually found out about him, because what happens is he went to TSA and then he like hid in the lavatories so that he wouldn't be found. But then he went, and then when he realized that they were done boarding, then he got onto the plane. And then once he went onto the plane, because it was a completely full flight, there were no open seats. And that's how he was discovered by a flight attendant. And because he did this, he's now being charged with a count of like stowaway on vessels or aircraft. And like this is becoming like he has to deal with legal proceedings against him. And like, but the interesting thing about this gentleman is I guess he really wanted to fly home to see his family because he had gone snowboarding. He was able to afford snowboarding,
Yeah.
but I guess he tried to use two of his friends Southwest Airlines buddy passes, but he couldn't get seats because it was maybe he just couldn't get seats. So he decided to do this. Well, I'm curious to see what you think about this, Greg, because I feel like this is a big security issue that someone is
Yeah.
able to get on a plane just by taking a picture of someone else's ticket at the
Yeah.
airport.
Well, I'm wondering how he got through when you go to the TSA agent when you're checking through. Like, I guess maybe they just weren't paying attention because usually don't they have to, they look at the ticket when you scan it and they look at your ID. And I'm assuming they're looking to make sure they match. Um, so because if we took a picture of the ticket, then it must have been somebody else's name that showed up. So somehow I got through that. And then, yeah, that's pretty, I mean, I got to admit, it's kind of clever, the fact that he did make it that far, but that's also terrifying that it's that easy to do that he made it as far as he did. Um, that's a big issue. Although I have trouble feeling any kind of sympathy for this guy. He was snowboarding in Salt Lake City and yet couldn't get a ticket home. It seems a little odd
Yeah.
that if you could afford to fly from Austin to Salt Lake City to go snowboarding, you would think you'd have another ticket home. But yeah, that's definitely a flaw in the system right there. If you
Yeah.
can just take a picture of it. So he must have just taken a picture of the code and then was able to scan it right in.
Yeah,
I'm
that's what
assuming.
I find concerning, right, Greg? The technology behind that. Wouldn't you
Yeah.
think that if the person was already on the plane, their ticket was already scanned, so he got scanned again, right? When you go on a plane, don't they scan your ticket again? And he was able to.
Yeah. Right. Right. Yeah. So that person, so yeah, full plane. So the person must have been on that flight and must have already gone through. I don't know how I want to find out more about this. I'm really interested in this and how he went about this, but also just to figure out where these holes are, because that's a big issue. I feel like the TSA agent, somebody in TSA must have made a mistake as well.
Somebody needs to be like talked to
Yeah.
about this.
Yeah.
This
Somebody
can't
wasn't
happen.
paying very close attention when they were
Like
scanning
several
the ticket.
people.
Yeah, several people along the way. Just like, yeah, whatever. Got in. I mean, that is a busy airport. I've been to that airport before, but that's still no excuse. That's wild though.
So if there had been one empty seat on that plane, just one, he would have
Yeah.
gotten away with it.
One, how many people have already gotten away with it?
Yeah.
Because
And
surely he's not the first one to try this.
and supposedly part of the story, he like just found some random passenger and like literally took a picture of their ticket that they
Yeah.
were holding.
Yeah. I guess maybe somebody set it down or was careless or something and just like set it down there and just, I don't
Oh,
know.
and then here's what was interesting. Later on, they went and used the surveillance cameras at the airport, and they saw him taking pictures of another passenger's ticket.
Oh, they actually did see him do it. Okay.
Mhm.
Wow. All right. I'm gonna dig into that one some more after this. That's just
That's all I got. It's a
yeah.
Friday.
No, I like it. I like it. That's really interesting. I want to know more about the mystery. This seems like something from a movie. And bottom line, thankfully everybody's okay. But yeah, that's crazy. All right, I've got a couple of things here. So the first one to bring up is just having to do with the U.S. government suing Apple. So you may have seen a little bit about this. There's been a lot of movement in Europe, in the European Union, for going after Apple, Google, big tech for all kinds of different reasons. Part of that is part of the results of that are why now we're going to get USB-C chargers for iPhones. But this is US going after Apple, saying that they are monopolizing the market. And this is a big time lawsuit that's going on here, a big accusation. So the I wanted to just kind of go through what the basic idea is that the government is saying. And it's essentially they're accusing Apple of stifling competition, stifling rival applications, anything that could possibly infringe on the world of Apple that they've created, specifically really with the iPhones. That's what we're talking about. They laid out a few different things that they said that Apple is doing, like specifically. One is making it very difficult for any other system of payment using your phone to work on an iPhone, because of course Apple Pay works really well, but they've made it so it's very difficult for anybody else to design anything if they even allow it. So even banks have issues unless they work through Apple Pay. And the government is saying that is stifling competition. That's not allowing customers to have the option to use something else. It's making them only use what Apple has created. They're also saying that Apple's done this with the third-party apps, that they stifle those. They don't let them explain that there's other ways they can pay for things without going through the store, through the App Store. And they even brought up that Apple stigmatizes those who use Androids by making our texts look weird when they come through. That one I thought was kind of funny. I don't really feel like that's like a stifling competition just by making Android users look strange on their platform. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but the rest of it, that could be those may be legitimate complaints. I mean, and we'll have to see how this all shakes out. But this is going to have huge ramifications for how Apple works one way or another, and it's probably not going to be settled for a while. This is going to be battled out for a long time, for years, I would guess, in the courts. But at the end of the day, whatever comes out of this, it'll change. It'll most likely force Apple to change some of the things that they do. I don't think the way that they operate right now is going to survive this. I think some changes are going to have to happen, and that's going to mean it's basically going to mean Apple's going to have to open up a little bit more And that's my prediction anyways, that Apple's going to have to open up, allow more third-party operations on there. Their stranglehold on everything in the Apple store is going to change a bit. Apple, to their extent, they're saying it's like that because people like their services, they prefer their services, and this is what they do say for everything. They're like, it's all because of security. They want to make sure everything's secure for everyone. I think that's probably true to an extent. Also, they really like the money that comes with that. So, and not allowing any other competition on there. So I think there's a little bit of both in each of these categories. Oh, I just hit my own. That was me. We're just gonna freeze. I don't know if you can hear me still.
We can hear you, Greg.
Okay, yeah, I just bumped my own camera. That was my fault. I got a little too animated.
Too
Knocked my
excited.
camera out. So I think it's a little bit of each, but this is going to be a big lawsuit that will have ramifications no matter what you hear down the line. So it's big. It's big.
It is big, Greg.
Nothing's going to change right this minute, but a lot of money is going to be spent on this over the next months, years.
Imagine the legal fees on this thing. Whew.
Oh man, if you're an Apple attorney right now, you're just like, yeah, you're employed for the next 2 years,
yeah, but at least maybe 5.
Yeah. But yeah, it's this is going to definitely change up how Apple operates, and this is happening across the world. Like I mentioned with EU, the EU is really going after big tech right now, as far as the big grip that like Google, Apple, Meta, all of them, and companies like that have control of so much that I think we're going to see this shaken up some. So anyway, that's the Apple lawsuit. Just bringing that out there just to give you a little bit of idea of what it is. It's all because they stigmatize us Android users with those green bubbles or whatever. So the next thing, though, let's switch back and talk about some AI. So going back to what Winnie was talking about with YouTube and AI, Google did announce some other AI things that they're going to be doing, and partially that is around health. So this is part of an AI health summit that Google had for Google Health. And one of those things is looking at different ways to make sure that people are able to take a look at what's happening to them as far as health-wise. So this opens up the accessibility to health. Now, there's a picture right there. This is an example that they have. So this is someone who has a rash. This is something that you could end up doing. So if you haven't tried Google Lens yet, it is a really powerful tool to be able to search. If you take that, you scan what's going on. This is their idea of it. You would be able to search and find out a little bit more about what's happening with you health-wise. I like that idea. Anything that opens up health information and access to healthcare for anyone is good. And even if it is just this, now they're encouraging you to go speak to a doctor, but they're saying that this is one way at least you could get some kind of information. Another way that you'd be able to do that, incorporating an AI, is again with the health side of things and doing that search. You could also and so right there, there's giving you some more ideas. Like this is an example too from them of showing what you could see. So you enter in your data, it's saying, hey, there's this going on. They can also track things like different information through YouTube and all kinds of stuff that you're looking up. Next, the other part though is going on to the Fitbit side. So this is how this overall encompassing using AI for health. They want to add in an AI health chatbot for Fitbit that would work with you, and naturally it has access to all of your health information that you get through the Fitbit, whether that's even sleep info, your exercise, all of that stuff, and then give you recommendations based on personalized data as far as things you could be doing to help yourself out, or even warn you about potential health concerns that it's noticing. This is something I think for a lot of people, you get worried about, the access to all of that data. What's Google going to do with it? And that's a legitimate concern that you're giving up all that information to somebody. I think that's one thing. The other thing, I think this is good. Something that can warn you about potential problems and more access to healthcare. That's really important. And I think the good of this is going to be really beneficial and helpful. And Apple's been doing some of this stuff too, but I think there's a lot of potential here to use AI to help you, learn about your health. That's what I think on it. Winnie, what do you think about this?
I love this idea. I just actually just got a call from my doctor today because I went to did my annual checkup earlier this week, and she called and gave me all my information. And one of the questions I said, because I had blood tests, and I'm like, so when should I like redo my blood test to see if I've improved, right? But I do think that nowadays, because medical professionals are so busy, it's natural that when we have something like something happened to us, the first thing we do is we go to Google. And
Yeah.
I didn't know, Greg, that you could use the Google Lens this way. But I'm with you. I think as much as we can. I mean, we've been through, and we still continue to be. We've gone through a really big health crisis the last 4 years with the pandemic, right? So it'll be good to have these tools accessible and ready for us for the next one that comes out, because people have been saying, medical professionals say it's not if, but it's just when. So I love the idea. We have more information, we can make good decisions, and we can, keep ourselves and our community safer.
Right. Yeah. So I think this is a good use case of AI. So
Mhm.
that's where we
Thumbs
talk
up.
about different ways that AI is being incorporated. There's all the scary stuff. This is a good use case of something that can help us stay safer. I'm a big fan of any kind of health tech. So any kind of health
Same.
technology, then it
Send
increases
it
that.
our way.
Yeah, send it. Yeah, exactly. Get it into the hands of people as long as it's helpful, beneficial. Absolutely, more access to healthcare. Maybe that's because I live in the U.S. and not everybody has it. So next, I've got one more thing here for today, just talking about AI, and this is something I think I brought up a little bit about this at the beginning of the year, just seeing the increasing crossover between robotics, which are getting very advanced, at least compared to what they were, and AI, and putting them together. And that's what we're looking at right here. So this is an example of a robot utilizing AI, like a chat GPT type of AI. So this is, it's actually, it's using OpenAI's technology. So it's very much like chat GPT, but just adapted a little bit differently. So this company called the Figure 01. So that's the name of this robot. Let me get this pulled up here just so I have it in front of me. Figure 01. And what they did is they taught Figure 01 how to make coffee. They taught it how to interact with a human. And here it is, grabbing an apple. Yeah, actually, I don't know if we can play any of the audio on it. If we can, just
Can
to
you
hear a little bit of it.
explain why you did what you just did while you pick up this trash?
On it. So I gave you the apple because it's the only edible item I could provide you with from the table.
Great. So, based on the scene right now, where do you think the dishes in front of you go next?
The dishes on the table, like that plate and cup, are likely to go into the drying rack next.
Great. Can you put them there?
Of course.
Look at that. Isn't that crazy?
I think it's more intuitive than my kids.
Right? I mean, haven't we talked about this? How we need a robot that's going to that will do the dishes and
All right. So, how do you
fold
think
my
you did?
laundry. So yeah, this is what we're talking about. So incorporating all of that stuff into the highly advanced robotics with AI that can think and learn. And that's the big thing there. It's that generative learning. So it's learning as it's going. So when he asked for the trash, I think it was, and it handed him the apple, it just was confused about what was going on. Now that's showing that it's figuring it out and saying, oh, okay, this isn't what this person wanted. Now I need to adapt to what they want and think about how this problem should be solved. I don't
Wow.
know.
Cross-egg spider's right. That is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty wild. It's pretty wild. So again, that robot is called Figure 01, and it's using an integration of OpenAI's technology, just to give everybody credit here. So
Kind of scary
on
though.
what's going on there. Yeah. So it's called Figure. You can find out more about it. It's at Figure_robot on Twitter. So they're an AI robotics company, and that's Figure 01. But yeah, I think that this is where we're really going to be seeing all this merging together more and more.
Yikes.
you know, that's I like that. I like that idea. That it's working for you. Again,
Yeah,
there's a
but
lot of
like,
scary stuff that comes with
but
that
this,
too, though.
but just okay. This is great. I mean, it's great. He's organizing and making coffee, but like, just build on that. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
other things that happen. Like it. This is just. I mean, it's basically a computer thinking.
yeah,
So
yeah. It is. It's
this is
thinking,
like
it's learning, it's interacting with you in a more human-like way. And that was one of the other things I was reading about too. Is you know, when you're using Chat GPT, when you're typing stuff out, it's very just matter of fact and what goes on there. This was more conversational, even the way that that it engaged with him. You know, it's like it was thinking. They programmed it to make it conversational.
and the voice sounded like a regular human. It
Yeah.
didn't sound like a robot.
Yeah. That's the sound of your new robot overlord right there. That's
Wow.
it's the voice of the robot overlord. Yeah, but I mean, pretty really, really impressive. Just what they've been able to do with this.
You know, it'd be really
Very cool.
cool, Greg, is have one of these things in the kitchen. So it's like loading a dishwasher, doing the dishes, and it has all the recipes built into its brain. So it's just you're cooking you whatever you want to eat. I
Yes,
mean, we just need a kitchen edition of this.
I'm down. I am down with that. That's I'm okay with that kind of robot taking over. If it's just gonna cook whatever you want and then clean up afterward. Yeah,
Oh yeah,
I'm for it. I'm
yeah.
for this
I'm like,
technology.
just do your thing. You go sleep, and the robot kicks kitchen in the morning. It's all
Yeah.
perfectly clean.
Yep. So
Wow.
there we go. That was the one I wanted to bring. I always have to find a robot if I can, but I thought that one was pretty impressive. So that's
Love it.
yeah, that's the future right there.
Thank you.
Hopefully that side of things, just working in the kitchen, not going into the sci-fi where the robots take over side. Maybe a little both. We'll have to see. But that's what I have for this week, Winnie.
Let's hope so.
Yep.
It depends on what Elon Musk has to say about that, right? So,
Yeah,
because
not Terminator. Let's not do the Terminator side. Let's do the helpful KitchenAid side.
exactly. Cool, cool.
All
Well,
right.
thank you so much, Greg. That was so fun and so interesting. And I think I think I'm hopefully you're feeling the same way that I'm feeling, which is, wow, I'm gonna have to let that sit with me for a bit. And in
Yeah.
the loop, it's just such a great episode today. I really saw something I didn't expect to see.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and I mean it's interesting stuff to think about. And thank you everybody too for joining us too for the comments along the way as well. We always really appreciate people joining in here with the show and talking about this stuff and let us know what you think.
Yes,
Feel free to send us a message anytime on any platform and let us know what you think about that. Or if you see cool videos or stories or topics, please send those over. I always like to hear about that.
we love to hear from you. And of course, next week we have another fun episode scheduled for you. So definitely make sure you subscribe and like the video that you see today. And if you share it on social media, make sure to tag at Winnie's son, at Greg Nibbler, so we can probably thank you on a future show because we couldn't do this without you. That's what makes the show so fun. It is a live show. We do it once a week, and we do it because we just love to be here with you.
Yes, all of that. So thanks everybody. Thanks for joining here. And yeah, like Winnie said, we'll talk to you next
Take care.
week.
Have a wonderful weekend.
Yeah, have a good weekend. Bye.
Bye.